Debt. Just hearing the word makes most people nervous. It's something we're taught to fear, to avoid, to get rid of as fast as possible. But what if I told you that not all debt is bad? What if, in some cases, debt could actually make you wealthier? Sounds crazy, right? But stay with me because understanding this difference could change the entire way you think about money. Most people see debt as the villain of their financial story. It traps you, stresses you, and steals your freedom. And yes, that can absolutely be true. But it is only one half the story. Debt isn't inherently bad. Debt is a tool. And like any tool, it can either build your future or destroy it depending on how you use it. Let's start with the basics. There are two types of debt: bad debt and good debt. Bad debt is when you borrow money to buy things that lose value, like clothes, gadgets, vacations, or a new iPhone you can't really afford. You swipe your card, feel good for a few minutes, and then spend months, sometimes years, paying it off with interest. That's bad debt. Because the moment you buy it, its value starts to drop, but your payments stay the same or even grow. Good debt, on the other hand, is when you borrow money to buy something that can make you more money. It's when the debt helps you build wealth, increase your income, or create assets that appreciate over time. Think of a student loan that helps you land a higher-paying career, a mortgage on a property that increases in value, or a business loan that allows you to start or grow your own company. These aren't just expenses, they're investments. Now, does that mean all student loans or mortgages are good? No, because even good debt can turn bad if it is misused. The key is not the type of loan, it's the purpose behind it and your plan for paying it back. Let's break that down with real examples. Imagine two people, Alex and Jordan. Alex buys a $50,000 car on credit because he wants to look successful. He takes a 7-year loan with high interest. The car loses value the moment he drives it off the lot. And now, most of his paycheck goes toward monthly payments. That's bad debt. Now, Jordan also takes a $50,000 loan, but she uses it as a down payment on a small rental property. That property earns her $800 a month in rent, more than enough to cover the loan payment. Jordan isn't losing money, she's leveraging it. Same amount borrowed. Completely different outcomes. That's the power of good debt. So how can you tell if debt is good or bad? There are 3 simple questions you should always ask before borrowing. First, will this purchase increase my net worth? If it won't grow in value or generate income, it's probably not worth the debt. Second, will it improve my future earning potential? Education, skill training, or a business investment might qualify, but a vacation or designer bag won't. Third, do I have a clear plan to pay it off? If you are relying on luck, promotions, or figuring it out later, you are setting yourself up for trouble. Debt is only good when it is controlled. Once it controls you, it becomes toxic. Now, let's talk about how good debt actually works to your advantage. When you use debt wisely, you are not just spending someone else's money, you are accelerating your growth. It's called leverage. Leverage means using borrowed money to amplify your potential returns. Think of it like this. If you had to save $300,000 before buying a home, you'd probably never get started. But with a mortgage, you can control that $300,000 property with a $30,000 down payment. If the home's value rises by 10%, you just earned $30,000 on your original $30,000 investment. That's a 100% return. And that's how leverage turns debt into a wealth-building tool. The same principle works in business. Let's say you borrow $10,000 to start an online store. That store earns $3,000 in profit every month. After a few months, the debt is paid off, but the income keeps coming in. That's good debt because it created something lasting. Now let's flip the situation. Suppose you borrow $10,000 for a luxury vacation. You enjoy it for 2 weeks, and then it's gone. But you're still paying interest on those memories for the next 2 years. That's the difference between instant gratification and long-term growth. Good debt gives you leverage. Bad debt gives you stress. But here's where most people get it wrong. They think debt automatically equals danger, so they avoid it entirely. And by doing that, they also avoid the opportunities that debt can create. Because the truth is almost every wealthy person in the world has used debt strategically. They don't fear it, they manage it. Look at real estate investors, entrepreneurs, or even big corporations. They all use borrowed money to expand, invest, and grow. Apple has billions in cash, but it still takes on debt. Why? Because borrowing can be cheaper than spending its own capital. Wealthy people understand this game. They don't ask, how do I avoid debt? They ask, how do I make debt work for me? So how do you make debt work for you? It starts with mindset. Instead of seeing debt as the enemy, see it as a tool that must be handled responsibly. Because just like fire, debt can either cook your dinner or burn down your house. The first step is to separate your debts into two categories. Write down every loan, credit card, or payment you owe. Then label each one as productive or unproductive. Productive debts are the ones tied to an asset, a house, a business, education, or anything that grows your wealth. Unproductive debts are tied to consumption, things that fade, break, or lose value over time. Your goal is simple. Pay off unproductive debt as fast as possible and manage productive debt wisely. Now, what does manage wisely mean? It means keeping interest rates low, ensuring your returns exceed your borrowing costs, and never over-leveraging yourself. If your investment earns 10% but your loan costs 12%, you're losing money. That's not smart debt. But if your loan costs 5% and your return is 12%, you're using debt like a pro. It's all about the spread, the difference between what you earn and what you owe. Now let's talk about credit cards, the most common form of consumer debt. Are they evil? No. Are they dangerous? Absolutely, if misused. Credit cards can destroy you if you carry balances month to month. But they can also build your credit, earn rewards, and give you financial flexibility if you pay them in full and on time. It's not about avoiding credit cards, it's about mastering them. Because a strong credit score is one of the most valuable assets you can have. It determines whether you qualify for good debt, like low-interest loans, mortgages, and business financing. In other words, responsible debt can open doors that cash alone never could. Now let's address the emotional side of debt, the guilt, the fear, the anxiety. Most people carry emotional baggage around debt because they have seen it used destructively. Maxed out cards, unpaid loans, endless interest. But remember, debt is neutral. It doesn't have feelings. It's the decisions behind the debt that matter. If you borrow intentionally, with a clear plan and purpose, there is no shame in that. It's how economies grow. It's how businesses expand. It is how families build stability. The problem isn't debt, it's undisciplined spending. So before you take on any new debt, ask yourself these questions. What is my purpose for this loan? 2. What's the expected return, financial or personal? 3. What's the worst-case scenario, and can I handle it? 4. How quickly can I pay it back if something goes wrong? If you can't answer those confidently, you're not ready for that debt. Because debt without a plan is just a financial trap. Now, let's go deeper into how good debt helps build long-term wealth. When used strategically, debt can help you protect your savings. Let's say you have $50,000 in cash and you're thinking about buying a home. Instead of using all your savings for a down payment, you might use a mortgage and keep that cash invested earning returns in the stock market or bonds. If your investments earn more than the mortgage rate, you are coming out ahead. That's what financially savvy people do. They let money work in multiple places at once. It is called opportunity cost. Every dollar you use to pay off debt early is a dollar you can't use to invest. So sometimes paying off debt too fast can actually slow down your wealth-building journey. But again, it depends. If your debt carries a high interest rate, like 20% credit cards, pay it off immediately. If it is low interest, tax-deductible debt, like a mortgage, it might make sense to invest instead. The secret is balance. You want your overall financial plan to reduce risk and increase opportunity. Now, let's talk about mindset again. There's a big difference between being debt-free and being financially free. Being debt-free feels good. It gives peace of mind. But being financially free means your money works for you, whether or not you carry certain types of debt. For example, a real estate investor might have millions in mortgages, but each property pays for itself. Technically, that person is in debt. But practically, they are wealthy. That's because they've structured their debt strategically. So don't aim to eliminate all debt blindly. Aim to use it intelligently. Because money is not about avoiding risk, it's about managing it. And the right kind of debt, used at the right time, can accelerate your journey to financial independence. But here's the warning you can't ignore. If you don't have discipline, even good debt becomes bad. If you borrow for education but do not finish school, that loan turns into a burden. If you borrow to start a business but do not plan properly, that loan becomes stress instead of success. So before taking on any debt, make sure you have the mindset, the plan, and the discipline to use it wisely. Debt can't make you rich on its own. It only multiplies your financial habits. If you are responsible, debt will help you grow. If you are careless, it will expose your weaknesses faster than anything else. So, is debt ever good for you? The answer is, it depends on you. Debt is like fire. In skilled hands, it is a source of warmth, progress, and power. In careless hands, it burns everything you have built. The question isn't whether debt is good or bad. The real question is, are you ready to use it wisely? Because in the end, debt doesn't define your future, your choices do. If you can borrow smart, invest wisely, and manage responsibly, then yes, debt can absolutely be good for you. It can be the bridge between where you are and where you want to be. Just remember, debt is not freedom. It's a tool. Use it with clarity, confidence, and caution, and it might just become the secret ingredient in your journey to financial success.